Sean, do you have the dump button ready? Because I'm sorry. This man deserves a cussy cuss. Laremy Tunsil, for fuck's sake, dude. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Great question.
That's all I've got as a question, because this guy's supposedly the best left tackle in the NFL. I'm too lazy to study the tape. Too lazy. I don't play that. I'm not studying the tape. I don't want to do that. But everyone says he's the best offensive lineman playing left tackle in the league. Okay, great, but how many false starts? 3 false starts, 2 illegal formations. He's been penalized 10 times this season. And I'm going to read this quote from a Houston Texans coach. Laremy, he's played very well, but he's had too many penalties. He would be the first to tell you that. I think nobody feels worse about that than him. He's a great guy. He's a great player, but we've got to fix it. You hear that Texans coach after the game, Joe?
I don't think so.
Right, because that was Bill O'Brien. That was Bill O'Brien. I mean, come on. That was 2019. That was 5 years ago. 5 years ago. We're saying this about him 5 years ago. He has never fixed this. He has never worked on it. He has never addressed it. It's kind of funny, except for when you remember that you're paying this guy a ton of money and he's not showing up for the offseason. And then after the game, did you hear what he said? This makes it even worse. This is why I'm really frustrated with Tunsil in particular. I could have a bad game from a guy like that. But then after the game, Tunsil's being asked about the penalties, and he's playing the victim card. First, he talks about the false starts. This is courtesy of Aaron Wilson of KPRC. False starts. I want people to understand we all have to be on the same communication. I'll take accountability because they're calling my name, but it takes all of us. Dude, it was 3 times by you. 3.
And this is the same quote from that Bill O'Brien one you just read. This is from 2019. I got a target on my back. Bull bleep calls. He said that in 2019. All he does is blame the refs when this happens. He takes no self-accountability.
You're right.
You've been blaming the refs for 5 years. Remember, because that's when it started was, and then it became, oh, he's just so quick off the ball. The refs are wrong.
No, he's cheating.
Like at some point, you are just committing false starts all the time. Maybe you should be the one, Laremy Tunsil, whether it's the illegal formation or the false starts. You need to adjust.
Junior Broncos comments, to be fair, the NFL picking random rules like illegal formations on tackles to enforce each year is whack. Nope. Laremy Tunsil should be called for it because he does it all the time. That's been his whole career, is doing this. He says after the game, too, again, more Tunsil, kind of deflecting. And Drew Scruggs did it. Titus Howard did it, too, with the illegal formation thing. They tried to make an example out of us. The first 2 weeks, we lined up the same with no problem. Now it's a problem. I feel like somebody told them to make an example out of us. Got to call it the same both sides. Tunsil's always leaning up a little bit back, lining up a little bit back, and he's always jumping right away. Like, the guy gets a head start. He's cheating. I can understand why they would make an example of him, because you should make an example of somebody who is abusing the rules. That's what he has been doing for 5 years. No attempt to address it. And then on top of that, you hear this afterwards. And all I can say is, as I said before, FFS, for bleep's sake, buddy boy.
I do agree with Junior Broncos a little bit that the NFL is picking and choosing when they're calling this. Yes.
Well, I mean, you got a sting operation and so much ammunition to do this on him.
But like with the illegal formation, I know they're not setting it up. It's not being clear. They showed us the first game of the season. They kept calling it on the Chiefs, and they were only calling it on the Chiefs. And Andy Reid and them, they were livid in that game because they were not calling on Detroit. And then it goes away, and then it happens to the Texans. But at some point, your players and your coaches have to adjust. If it's going to keep getting called, and I know Titus Howard said they're calling on us and they're not calling us, we're lining up in the same spot. But at some point, you have to adjust. The NFL, when they put in new rules, it never goes easy. We saw this when they started to call more offensive pass interference, and we're seeing it now with this illegal formation. It doesn't make sense, but you have to adjust. You have to. It's your responsibility as the players and as the team to fix the problem.
And look, I think it makes total sense. I do. You have way too many rules that help the offense out. And they can do false start, no problem. Screw offensive players. As somebody who believes defenders' lives matter, I feel that we should be doing things to punish offensive linemen, to punish offensive players, because they are cheating. Tunsil's cheating. He is. He can say he's not, but he's been doing this his whole career. And hey, he might be one of the best tackles in the game. But the guy's trying to always get a jump on everybody. And he gets exposed when he's playing in hostile environments as loud as US Bank Stadium was for the Vikings.